Yo, what is up, headhunters and executive recruiters? This is DSP, David Stephen Patterson, and today I want to talk to you about the number one thing that is likely holding you back from the success that you have been chasing your entire professional life. All right, you want to know what that number one thing is? That is your retreat into your comfort zone. Basically, it's being too comfortable. You see, this came to light here recently in the Facebook group that I run, the Headhunter and Executive Recruiter Community, or hashtag HERC for short. I posted an article yesterday. Not really an article, more like a post that was a bit controversial, and it generated some discussion. And the post was basically about stories, about how one of the biggest things holding people back is that their retreat into story mode. When I ask, or when I have a student that comes to me with a particular business problem or an issue that they have, and it's like, hey, what's the problem? And what do you need to fix it? What's the question? They retreat into story mode. And they tell me a long, convoluted story with all these details that are really unnecessary. But when I ask, okay, well, let's cut out all that. What's the question? What I find is that oftentimes they don't know what the question is, because being in a story is a very comforting thing, because it provides you a kind of a safe space, right? It's the reason why all those things that have happened to you in the past that really shouldn't affect who you are right now, but they still do, because we get stuck in that story. And that story provides a sense of comfort. It provides a reason why we are not doing the things that we need to do to succeed, okay? And it's a comfortable place. And what happens is, and what I've seen in my coaching, is when people retreat to a story, it triggers a lot of the same dopamine triggers that success does, right? It triggers a lot of the same dopamine pathways, and dopamine is addictive, right? And so what happens is we get addicted to this dopamine cycle, this trigger. It's the reason why Facebook is so addictive, because they have people in their employ that make a lot of money figuring out how to trigger the dopamine in your head, so you're always checking, hey, did somebody like this? Somebody comment, somebody share, what about this? You have that fear of missing out, right? Those same dopamine triggers also trigger when we retreat into story mode. When, hey, what's the issue? We want to tell somebody the entire story, right? And what you have to realize is that really no one cares about your story except for you. You tell somebody else your story, they don't care. I mean, they do, but they care about their stories. They're in their story mode, in their comfort zone, if you will, okay? So one of the biggest keys to success, one is being able to let go of your stories. Now, that post that I made yesterday, I had some comments in there about, well, a coach should be able to work with somebody's story, understand their story, and work them through it. And I get that. And there are coaches for that. I am not that guy, okay? I'm not a life coach. People hire me to get them, or to help them achieve a business result. And so I oftentimes describe it like if I were a marathon coach and you hired me to get you marathon ready in 6 months. You've never run a marathon before, but damn it, this time you're dedicated, you're gonna make it happen. So I give you running drills, and we give you a diet plan, and I get you on the track, because I know what it takes to get you across that finish line. Now, when you don't complete your running drills like I told you to, and I say why, or what's the issue, and you retreat into story mode, I'm gonna say, okay, I don't give a shit about your story. You need to complete your running drills, right? And so there are life coaches for that, and that's certainly fine, and there's a place for that. But in my opinion, I think we put too much stock in that. And look, I'm not being a heartless monster. I've had my own stories that I still struggle with to this day. I have verbal apraxia, which is when I was younger, it was a debilitating speech impediment. I still deal with it to this day. I've got speaking strategies that I use so that way I don't lock up when I'm trying to talk, right? Now, for years, that was my story. I had to let that story go, right? I couldn't use that as an excuse anymore. My mother abandoned me when I was a year and a half. That was my story about why I was so unsuccessful in relationships for so many years. But that wasn't an excuse for my own failures, right? That was my comfort zone. It's comforting to wrap yourself in a story that is the reason why you're not successful. So one of the biggest things I think needs to happen for people is, beyond just kind of getting out of their story mode, is really getting out of their comfort zone. Because think about what a comfort zone really is. It's a story that you tell yourself. Think about when you're a recruiter. When your first year as a recruiter, let's say you were told you start cold calling candidates, and you were so scared because you've never cold called anybody before, but you did it. You know why? Because you had it. It was a job. You needed the paycheck. You needed to pay the rent, so you just do it. And so now, for a lot of new recruiters, they tell themselves the story that, well, I don't like when telemarketers call me. I'm in and during their day. And so you come with like stories in your head to keep you from doing the thing, right? But you do it anyway because you need the paycheck. And eventually, the story then loses its power over you, right? And now you've expanded your comfort zone. And then as you progress in your career, that comfort zone that you've expanded, it develops like walls, right? And now you have more stories that are keeping you from expanding further. So one of the big things that I've seen in this business that are holding people back is that comfort zone. So there are three main components of your recruiting practice. Whether you're independent recruiter, a search firm owner, or you work for somebody else, but there are really three main things that you need to be doing to grow your business. Those three things are the business, the job, and the busy. The business is actively growing the business. So going out there, getting new clients, coming up with an offer that's different than your competitors. In fact, doing that competitive research to figure out, what kind of offer you need to put together, and then going out there actively prospecting and making offers, setting appointments, creating content, etc. In fact, in my training, I talk about how there are a few core power activities you need to be doing every day. There's hunting, which is going out there hunting new business, and there's farming, which is you're going out there and putting out content, right, to help draw new prospects in. Of course, there's closing, etc. Right. So those are all the business related activities to grow your business. There's the job, which is what we love to do. That's probably our favorite part of the business for a lot of us, which is the recruiting. It's the making the matches, closing deals, all that kind of stuff, right? And the busy. The busy is important, but it's the things we tend to retreat into, right? It's the training, which training is great, but if you binge watch 10 hours of training, as entertaining as your boy DSP may be, it's, to feel like you're making progress just by watching training and that's it, you're just spectating, well, you're caught in the busy, right? You're caught in oftentimes those stories, and the stories keep you either in the busy or they keep you in the job, but they don't keep you in the business. And really, when you think about it, the working in the business is what allows you to work in the job and work in the busy, right? You earn the right to do your job by working in the business first. But the business, right, going out there and putting yourself out there is really hard. And that's where so many of the issues come into play with people and their headspace and their mindset, because they tell themselves stories, and those stories, they buy into them. It's their comfort zone, keeps them away from what they need to be doing, right? It keeps them away from growing the business and doing those things that need to be done in order for them to even work the job and work the busy, right? So I want you to be thinking, what are the things that you need to do in the business to help grow the business that you are uncomfortable in doing, right? And it's and so, for example, it's things like going out there and making those calls, right? Recording those calls. How uncomfortable is recording your phone, or I'm sorry, how uncomfortable is recording your phone calls? Extremely. That's why recruiters don't do it. We all know we should, right? We know we should. You know you should, but we don't do it. You know why? Because we don't want to listen to ourselves. I sound like an idiot. All right, oh, I can't believe my voice sounds like that. Okay, everybody else hears the way your voice sounds. Your voice to you sounds different because of the acoustics in your head, okay? My voice to me sounds unique to me. To everybody else, it sounds just how I sound, right? But I don't hear the way other people hear me. So when you record yourself, so you're not listening to yourself through the acoustic of your skull, right? Now you're actually hearing yourself the way other people hear you. So when you say, I sound like an idiot, I don't like the way you sound. Okay, does everybody think you're an idiot? No, it's just how you sound. But it's uncomfortable to listen to yourself, right? It's uncomfortable to critique yourself. It's uncomfortable to have other people do it, right? So it's those things, right? It's the story that you tell yourself that I sound like an idiot, so I don't want to, that keeps you from doing the things you need to do, right? Again, it's stories that keep you from doing the things that you need to do, because we treat back in stories. And it's those stories that give us the excuses that hit those dopamine triggers and basically keeps you in front of that dopamine slot machine all day long like a zombie. Dopamine, right? Now, dopamine isn't a bad thing. Dopamine can addict you to success, but can addict you to failure and addict you to stories. So when it comes to that comfort zone, when it comes to the stories that you tell yourself, right, you have to figure out a way to move past them, right? Oftentimes it takes doing an inventory of the stories that you have, right? Open up your story toolbox and find all the stories that you have in there. Here's the story about my apraxia, okay? There's the story about my mother abandoning me when I was, a year and a half, right? This is the story about how, I kind of like an idiot on the phone. I don't want to, right? That's another, maybe a little smaller story. Another story. I'm not really a morning person. I can't wake up super early. Okay, that's a story. It's just a fucking story. So, write out all the stories, right? Think of all those things that you want to do that you can't find yourself doing, and think of all the stories that you're telling yourself that are really kind of keeping you in that comfort zone, okay? And then you work on breaking out of those. So there are three things that you should do to help break out of that story mode, if you will, and really to help break out of that comfort zone. So three things that will help. So first off, find an accountability buddy. All right, someone who kind of gets this, who gets he understands the deal, and understands the importance of breaking out of your comfort zone and breaking out of story mode. Right, find an accountability buddy. Now, I have been a part of a mastermind group for the last 8 or 9 years. Now it's not a big group. It started off as 3 people. Because really you don't want a mastermind group of 8 or 9 or 10 people. You've really got to be super small. 2, 3, 4. Beyond that, it gets really unworkable, right? It started off as 3 people. The first guy dropped out. We've had a couple others come in here and there, but it never really worked out. So really just stayed the 2 of us. And for us, it works, right? It's the 2 of us. We have met every either Sunday night or Monday night for the last, 8, 9, 10 years. It's been a long time. He's become one of my best friends, right? I was his best man at his wedding. When I get married, he'll be the best man at mine. So you end up becoming very close. And what happens is you have to be very open with this person. And as you're setting goals, they're going to hold you to it. And they're going to call you on your bullshit. You're going to call them on their bullshit, right? Because the one person that is not going to call you on your bullshit is you. Because you're stuck in story mode. But they're not stuck in your story mode. So they're going to be able to see, okay, you're using that as an excuse, right? So they're going to celebrate your successes. They're going to call you on your bullshit. They're going to help plan. Maybe you have an issue or a problem. They can help you think through from a different perspective, etc. So that's the benefit of having a mastermind group, or an accountability buddy. But you have to find somebody who's willing to be there for the long term. It's really not meant to be a short-term deal. And ideally, it should be about life in general, not just business, not just accountability of making 100 calls a day or whatever it is, but it's the accountability of, if it's, I need to go work out, I need to get my fitness in check or handled. I need to become a morning person. I want to eventually wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. every morning so I can do additional work, but I spend too much time binge watching Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad on Netflix every night till midnight with a 6-pack of beer. Okay, well, let's work on getting you out of that habit, right? So the mastermind group is a key component, right? Because again, if you're trying to do it yourself, no matter how motivated you are, it's really hard to dig yourself out of any hole, right? So look for an accountability buddy or a partner that can help you do that. Secondly, is the headspace, right? Is realizing that what you have to offer is really of value. So, for example, you're trying to work in the business, right? You're trying to go out there and you're reaching out, you're cold calling, and maybe you're cold calling CEOs and CIOs and really high up, right? And that's intimidating. But you have to realize that, wait a minute, what you have to offer is significant. You can transform their entire career with the right application of talent. It's huge. We're not selling, Xerox copiers here, right? We're selling the keys to the kingdom, right? The number one thing holding our clients back is lack of access to the right talent and lack of being able to hire that talent and keep that talent. That's what we do, okay? That's important shit. And we're here afraid to offer that. Imagine you go to the mall and you walk around the mall and your goal is to high five 10 people. And anybody that high fives you and gives you a smile back, you're gonna hand them a $100 bill. Would you be afraid to go and high five those people? No, because you have a lot of value to give. Shit, it's $100 or $1,000, whatever it is, right? Think of it like that. Think of the value you're providing. In fact, you have so much value that you can provide. Quite literally, it is your moral obligation to go out there and provide it and push it. It's your moral obligation. So if you're holding back from doing that, you're doing your market and your niche a disservice, right? So having that mindset can help you break out of that comfort zone, okay? Number three is a daily practice, and that's simply breaking out of your comfort zone. It's being comfortable with doing the uncomfortable. You see, there's a thing about confidence that people don't want to do the uncomfortable until they feel confident enough to do it. And the dirty little secret to all this is that you'll never feel confident. It's never going to happen until you do the thing. You see, confidence is not the requirement of the thing, of doing the thing. Requirement is the reward of doing the thing. Meaning, going to the mall and high-fiving 10 people, for example. Now, if you're going to wait to feel confident before you go do it, you're never going to do it. Because confidence will never come. You go and do it despite the fear. After you're done, okay, now I feel pretty damn confident, right? Confidence is a reward, not a requirement. And you have to really think about that, right? It's having the fear and doing it anyway. You can't have courage without fear. If you had no fear, then it wouldn't take courage, right? So courage is working past the fear. So try to create a daily habit. Now, the daily habit doesn't have to be strictly business related, right? Now, of course, do business things that out of your comfort zone. Post a video every day on LinkedIn until you get comfortable, right? Even if you think your videos suck, even if you think you have a face built for radio, doesn't matter. Do it and you'll find that it's okay. You don't die, right? You're fine. Find do anything, right? Create a video, call a CEO, call a CIO, right? Call your strange son that you haven't talked to in years. Find the confidence to do that, right? And go and just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. Even little things. Go into the mall. And I'm actually serious about this. I've done this. I literally have done this, and I've had people do it. Go to the mall and high five 10 people. What you'll find is that 9 out of 10 will think it's kind of weird, but they'll smile, and then they'll go home and they'll have a story to tell. That some weird guy or some crazy woman came up and just high-fived me. It was kind of cool. Kind of gave me a jolt of like, oh, okay, this is interesting, right? And the one person that doesn't like it, well, they were an asshole anyway, okay? And they don't matter. So what I'm trying to say is, go do little things like that. High-fiving 10 people at the mall, right? Calling the people that you've been putting off calling for years. Calling a CIO, right? Pitching a retainer, and you've never done it before. Whatever it is, go and do something. Go take ballroom class. But wanted to do ballroom class for years, go do it, right? Go join the gym. Go join an Olympic weightlifting program, even if you're fat and out of shape. Who cares if you think everybody's looking at you? No, they're not looking at you, okay? They're worried about their own shit. They're not worried about yours, right? But find ways to break out of that comfort zone, which in reality are all those stories that we're telling ourselves, okay? And what you'll find if you create that habit, but again, it's hard to do without an accountability buddy, and it's also hard to do without really understanding like the headspace of knowing that you're valued. You have value. You have immense value, and the more you hold yourself back, the more you let your stories hold you back, the more you're holding yourself back from the world. And the world deserves your best. And if you hold back, you're doing the world a disservice, right? Because that video that you're afraid to make could change someone's life. But it's never going to happen if you don't make the video, right? So get a mastermind. An accountability buddy. Figure your headspace and realize the value that you're providing, right? And that takes some internal work. Third, create a daily habit of doing the uncomfortable, right? And if you don't know what those uncomfortable things are, you don't have ideas, write out all the stories that you have in your life, right? Open that story toolbox that you have and take out all the stories that you're using as crutches and write them out and figure out, what can I do to drop the story and do something uncomfortable. And it might take a long time. It might take a series of uncomfortable steps along the way, but take a deliberate approach to expanding that comfort zone, and you will be amazed at what you can do in a very short period of time. Do this for a year, your life will completely change for the better. I guarantee it. All right, so go out there and make it happen. So with that said, I hope you liked this video. Do me a favor, guys, here on YouTube. The engagement really, really helps. So slap a like on this thing. Comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And actually, comment down below. Let me know. Give me an idea. What are some uncomfortable things that somebody can do? I want somebody who's reading or who's watching this right now who goes, I don't know what to do. I want them to go down in the comments and like, oh, there's tons of ideas, right? So guys, do me a favor. If you like these videos, slap a like again, subscribe, all that kind of jazz, but put in a comment with an idea of something uncomfortable that you can do, and that would be much greatly appreciated. So with that said, guys, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching this video, and as